What's going on, guys? So we got Perth Pro Players team member Jason Stubbs here. He got a first place over the weekend at the TAC Online Regionals. What were we playing there, my man?
We were playing King Vegeta and we piloted it through Blue Hell over the weekend. 5 out of 6 matches were against blue decks. Shout out to my round 2 opponent playing green Gotenks. It was a nice reprieve.
Bit of a change.
By this point, if you've seen my other profile, people know what this deck does, so we'll just go through what the leader does quickly. When it's played, you activate this card and leave it on the field as well, and then when it attacks, it searches top 5 for a mono-red Saiyan. That's relevant because there are red-green builds that will play Manappa or something, you can't add it there. And then it's capable of awakening when you or your opponent are at 4 or less life. And then when you awaken, you draw a card, you switch an energy to active mode, and you take down to 5 life. So that's really good if you're going aggressive on your opponent, because it becomes a massive card advantage to you. And then when we awaken, leader is very similar on the back. It's got a permanent, it reduces your 1-cost invaders, so they're a free combo in hand. It draws a card on attack instead of searching, and then when a card is negged, it negs another card 10k, battle card 10k.
And does this build focus a lot on the neg?
It doesn't focus a lot on the neg, it just focuses on getting to the backside sort of as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And then the field card that everyone knows as well, at the start of every turn, you have the opportunity to play up to 1 to your opponent's side, 1 little invader. Even if you don't play an invader at the start of your opponent's turn, you still shuffle it. And then it's got the activate main to choose up to 1 life, and then play a young invader in rest mode on your side of the field with its skills engaged for the turn. And then a somewhat relevant activate main for 1 red energy, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and neg at 5k power, so combined with the leader that makes it a 15k power neg. It can be helpful in certain situations when you need to control the board and you don't have the battle cards for it.
For sure.
Going into the deck, we played 4 copies of Vegeta, the young invader.
Yep.
We used to play Raditz, and then I ended my friendship with the Goku. So I don't play the Goku anymore, so we just switched to the Vegeta because it's got relevant effects on my opponent's side of the board, and we were only playing Vegeta targets, so there's no point for Raditz. Although in the past I had complained about having 4, we decided to go down to 4 invaders instead of 5, just to boost the consistency of the remainder of the deck.
Yep.
And so this card is unique. When it's played to your opponent's side of the board, it crits them a life, and then they draw a card until they have 4 life. And then when one of your opponent's cards is attacked, it loses -5k for the battle. So that's super relevant against green if they're playing Demigra, because it's an automatic marker removal. Normally they would take a life, but you just take the marker off instead.
Yep.
And then it can also be useful for early aggro, because it just weakens their leader a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we were playing the young invader Vegeta, we played 4 copies of Vegeta Switching Gears. This card is insane. It's a free draw, cycle your deck. What more can we say about it at this point? As well. Yeah, exactly.
Which is huge sometimes.
Too many young invaders in hand, you just put them back into the deck.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing card. It's a free body. A little fun fact that I've learned since is it says you may choose one of your opponent's Vegeta BRs. So if someone God Ceilings this, you can choose not to bottom deck one of these. You just put this back in your hand and you activate it again and you bottom deck this thing.
Okay, that's cool.
So they've wasted a God Ceiling and you haven't lost any of your cards.
Awesome.
So that's a little bit gross.
That's pretty nice.
And then we have the 3-cost Vegeta. A disgusting 90k crit that searches the top 5 for any red Saiyan. So if you're playing a red-green variant, you can find your super combos and all that, but otherwise it just searches anything in the deck. It's really strong, 90k crit's hard to get out of early game. You slap this down turn 1, if you're going first and you can't swing, you just find it and you have it for the next turn.
Is that your ideal turn 1 play in this deck as well?
Yeah, for the most part it's always this guy turn 1.
Start swinging with crits in early.
And then we'll take a quick look at the unison for the deck. We played King Piccolo, well, Piccolo Jr., sorry. We opted for a little bit of a faster build this time, so we didn't run Jiren.
Yep.
So we have Piccolo, it's just a natural draw 1, which the longer it's there, the more you benefit from, and then it has this awesome skill. When your opponent activates a counter skill, you choose one of their battle cards of 15k power or less and KO it. On the weekend, my opponent, Jonathan Mora, he baby hatched me. I had swung with a chain attack Bardock. I negged it 16k, leader negged it another 10, and then this KO'd it. So, he stopped my turn, but we killed his baby hatch.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So that put in a lot of work over the weekend,
Yeah,
especially
for
against
sure.
Blue, right?
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Playing against Blue, it was a main powerhouse. And then to go along with that, we have this disgusting card, which
Yep.
the more we play it, the more we realise it's a broken card.
It's stupid, yep.
It's a free play double strike, 20k base that can't be blocked.
Yep.
There was a game against my opponent. He was playing Margin Boo in my second last game. He used the -1 effect to bottom deck a card. We then played this, and he couldn't block it, and we killed him off the attack.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
If we went back through and we redid this deck, we'd run this at 3 instead of 2.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
we found we had some dead cards as the day went on.
Yeah.
We then ran 3 copies of Yamcha Merciless Barrage. Again, just an insane board control tool, along with the Piccolo. You can just neg anything that comes in, and then you KO it with the Unison effect. And then this also triggers the leader effect to neg. So it's just massive value.
Hit a
and
20,
another body.
neg 25 or...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
And then we go into the actual main engine for the deck. We ran 4 copies of Chain Attack Bardock. This card is insane because of how easy it is to put red Saiyans on your board. When you have Bond 3 of red Saiyans, it gains 11k power and critical, and then on swing, it'll neg your opponent's battle card by 4k per red Saiyan you have on board. So the moment this card's Bond is live, it negs something 12k, and then you've got the leader to neg it another 10.
Yeah.
So you just get massive board control off of this card, as well as just it being a crit.
Yeah, it's huge.
Super cheap to play.
Worth the price tag?
Oh yeah, the card is very good.
For sure.
To go along with Bardock, we had 4 copies of Chain Attack Farsha. Bond 3 gains 11k, unfortunately not crit, but that would be crazy if it did. And then it searches top 5 for a Bardock's crew, 5 cost or less, or a 2 cost Unison. So this card would fix you up if you were a little bit early on, you didn't have a good turn 1 play, you slap this down, you try and fight a Unison or a Bardock's crew so you can play it in the next turn.
Yeah.
This is sort of your backup turn 1.
Yeah. So this is obviously something new because you're running 4 of the 2 cost Unison as well, I
Yeah.
would say, right? So make sure you can like search it out early, especially when you need it in those games like against Blue. It means there's like another way to find it. So technically it's like 8 copies of a Unison or 8 copies of chain attack, right?
Yeah, and this sort of helps with the deck's inability to draw into the Unison normally because of all its search abilities, so we have a search that finds the Unison instead.
That's awesome, I like that.
Yeah.
Little tech.
We then have 4 copies of Chain Attack Borgos.
Yep.
Again, has the same Bond skill, gains 11k power, no crit, and then on play draw a card. If you don't have your 3 cost Vegeta, you don't have the Farsha, you play this turn 1. It's just a draw 1, and as the game goes on, it gets pretty strong. I think there was one game where I was going in for the kill on my opponent. I played 3 more of these onto the board, and I drew 3 cards before I killed him. Just because
Pretty nice.
it's just a 1 cost draw card that's at 15k as well.
I feel like it's also good against those decks, so when they're like, especially against Baby Hatch or something, where it stops your turn, it gives you something to do, so you can still get value out of your energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so you don't run out of things to do if you can't swing anymore. Because a lot of the things that this deck does, it does on swing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is just another good way to cover that.
For sure.
We then ran 2 copies of Bardock Pride of a Low-Cast Warrior. This card's not terrible. It's not amazing, but it's when this card attacks, you take a life and it gains 11k power for the battle, not the turn.
Yeah.
And that's kind of useful when you pair it with your Leader's Awaken skill, because you take yourself down to 5. So this is just another way to get you to 4 life, so your super combo's alive.
Yep.
And then if you have 2 or more energy, when this card deals a damage to your opponent, it searches top 7 for a Bardock's crew, energy cost of 1, and plays it. So you could potentially play a Borgos and then draw a card, and you have another body on board, or you could play the Farsha and look for your Unison. Or you could potentially find another Bardock, which then you could evolve on with the next card that's coming out, because once you've evolved, it's a different card and it can swing.
Yep. Yep, for sure. How often did you find the damage actually connected with this card?
We always commented a little bit on this, just to sort of make them take it. And people were never really threatened by this card because they're like, oh, whatever it plays can't swing. I don't really care.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it's good for adding tempo as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you feel like you ran enough targets for this card to be relevant?
Yeah, like this card only really came out if I didn't have a better option. Like, this was never I've got this card in my hand, this is my go-to this turn.
Yeah.
It's just another nice little consistency boost, I guess.
That's fair.
And then speaking of the Evolve Bardock, we ran 3 copies of this card. It's nuts. I love it. It's a 1 cost Evolve, no energy restriction. plays on a 1-cost Bardock, so it plays on this if for some reason they've let it survive.
Yep.
You don't want to be swinging with it later on. When it's played, searches top 7 for a crew and bins it, and then on swing it plays a 1-cost from the drop and then boosts 2 red Saiyans by 5k. So you could potentially play a Borgos from your drop, draw a card, and then you could have 2 copies of Chantak Bardock on board and you boost both of them 5k.
Yep.
I mean, that's essentially drawing 3 cards, really.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So this card is just fantastic. And it even turns your switching gears into relevant attackers because it's any red Saiyan it boosts. So you turn the switching gears into 15s. And then it's a barrier, so your opponent can't really get rid of it. It's just really good. I love this card.
How do you find like the unique tag on this card? Did it ever clog up your hand, especially like being in 1-cost 10k or?
Still not so much because you just have so much opportunity to bottom deck things from your hand.
Yeah.
And with all your effects being searches, you never really add it to your hand unless you want it.
Yep, that's fair.
So it was just a good card all day. It put in so much work, especially against blue where the games are a little bit slower.
Yep.
This was just recurring value the longer it was there.
So you'd always keep it at 3, you think?
2 or 3 it could sort of be interchanged with. I was quite happy with 3 for the weekend just because it meant we found it when we needed it to. In a slightly faster matchup, maybe 2 would be alright because you wouldn't always be using it.
Yeah, that's fair. Makes sense.
And then we're pretty happy that we put 2 copies of this guy, seeing as we were playing against blue all weekend.
There was definitely energy up to go start looking through hands.
Every blue deck's playing Margin Boo now, so you pretty much guarantee they're going to have the energy up.
Yep.
We had one of my opponents was playing the Reboot SS3, and he opted to not awaken so that he wouldn't untap 3 on that turn, and then awakened on like defense instead. So this card was really useful, and then it just took cards that my opponent wanted out of their hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think sometimes can just like swing in your favour so much.
Oh yeah.
Especially against blue when you're like counting how many negates and things
like
that.
You like look at their hand, you're like, alright, they don't have like any activate battle effects here, so I can safely go in on this card.
Yeah, exactly right.
So that was really useful as well. Like there was so many times where I'm like, this is such a risky like double strike to go in on for game here, but we know that we're safe because we played this.
Yeah, which is huge. Because knowledge is power.
Yeah, exactly. My opponent, Jonathan Mora, I was swinging for game off of a new ruler, and he asked me, do you know what the card Absolute Confidence is? And I went, yes, it's an activate battle that returns a 3-cost to hand. Please don't have it. He's like, I don't have it, I'm just screwing with you. I'm like, thank God. Because we'd gone to like 90k on that double strike, and he's like, uh-oh.
It's always something you've got to be wary of, I guess.
Yeah. And then super combos, we ran 3 coppers of Baby Raditz. When you have 4 or less life, you bottom deck a card and draw 2. Okay. It's a very strong card. And then to accompany Raditz, we played 1 copy of Gine to her husband's side.
Yep.
I could see Paxton smiling. He's like, did this man forget to run a 4th super combo? No. We ran 1 copy of Gine. This card's actually really good. Defensively, it's a 15k combo. And offensively, it's just a regular super combo. So it's real cool.
Yeah, awesome.
We're about to get started with the Knights. We kind of got to go quick. 1 copy of Hidden Power of East Supreme Kai. Gives something double strike in a combo. Very good.
Win games on leader when you need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
2 copies of this guy. Overwhelmed dual attack.
Yep.
I overwhelmed once the entire day because we just never saw this man, but we never needed it. I think in one of the matches I was under the effect of the SS4 Goku 5-cost Unison.
Yep.
We overwhelmed this just so we could swing a different card because we then bottom decked this.
Yep, cool.
Because we wanted a double strike to kill him with, and we didn't want that, but we had no other option. 2 copies of Imposing Presence. I used this once all day, but it's a very good card. I would up this to 3 in future. And then the next card, we had 2 copies of Topper. Dead card, didn't use it at all. It was just combo fodder the whole day, but I guess in an aggro matchup I'd probably want it.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
this would probably become another Imposing Presence, because Imposing Presence just puts in so much work. And then the SCR choice for the day was Heroine's Lineage. And so many times I just stole, because I was playing against blue, I was stealing their 4-cost dual attack Bojack. and everyone was playing like SS4 ramp, so like everyone had 3 energy really early. So I'm like, all right, cool, we'll just steal something early.
Start stealing things. Awesome. There we go, guys. So that is Jason Stubbs' first place profile from the weekend. King Vegeta still absolutely broken, I think.
So good.
Any shout-outs before we get going?
Yeah, big shout out to the team. They've supported me heaps. Shout out to Team Card Titan. They're our sponsor. They're over in Melbourne at the moment. They do some wicked auctions and they got a store over there. And also shout out to Frank Castle in Vegeta's Saiyan Army, because I saw his original Bardock's crew list and it gave me massive inspiration for this.
Awesome.
So that's where it sort of came from.
Awesome. There we go, guys. Please remember, if you like this content, subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace out, fellas.